All right. Hello, guys. Long time no see. Just doing a real quick mic check to make sure that audio is working. Okay. It looks like audio is working and we are good to go. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Um, I'm not expecting too many people to jump on right now because we did switch today at the last minute. Sorry about that, guys. We are moving our Monday vocab class to Tuesdays just because of change in my schedule. So if you guys are just jumping on, I hope you guys make some time on Tuesdays to stop by and say hi. As you guys know, if you've been here before, we are going to be doing a vocab lesson today. On Friday, you guys will be able to do a mock speaking exam with Phil. And on the Saturday, you guys will be doing a speaking class with Phil as well. So I hope you guys are able to stop by for all of those. And I hope that you guys find this vocabulary today useful. I hope you guys study it after we start going over it. And so that you can use it on the mock exam and in the speaking class. That's kind of why we're setting this up. The first thing we are going to do is, first of all, if you guys join, make sure you guys say hello. This is a class, so you guys being active and interactive will make sure that the stream lasts longer. Also, if you guys are just joining us, please make sure you guys hit the like button. It really does help us out a lot. Yeah, and don't forget to say hi. One last thing, make sure that you guys are not watching in the past or watching a playback. Make sure you guys hit live to make sure that it's all good. Two last things, we have our full schedule at this link. You guys can see the document we're looking on in this link. And finally, we have a Discord that's actually quite active. We've got 60 people there now. So if you're looking for someone to chat with, feel free to jump on. All right, let's get started. Like I said, this whole document is in the chat. And let's get started down here. If you guys want to improve your vocabulary and your grammar, please follow these steps on page 1. I'm not going to go over them too much because you guys can read that yourself. Reading is the best way to build your vocabulary, especially if you're reading below your level. And when you're learning new words, make sure you try to learn the collocations, so the words that naturally go together. So let's get started with a broad range of vocabulary. As you guys jump in, please make sure that you guys start typing away with some different words that you know. So let's start with different cultures. What are some different cultures? What cultures do you guys come from? So I'm an American. So we have American culture. We have British culture for Phil. I live in Taiwan, so we have Taiwanese. I can spell my home country now. Taiwanese culture. Okay. And just as you guys start trickling in, if you guys could tell me your own culture, just so we can have a list of it, making sure that you use the right terms here is extremely important. Which is why right here I'm going to be adding another thing. This is common mistakes. I'm going to say this one because it is so common. I see this mistake all the time. Let me give you an example here. I'm an American. Is this okay? If you think it's okay, please tell me in the chat. And then down here, I'm Japanese. Okay. Are both of these correct? And if they're not correct, can you tell me why? Again, I know that right now chat is a little quiet, which is fine. Just let me know when you guys are here. Don't be shy. This is a safe place. I want to point out to you guys that right here, I'm a Japanese. This is wrong. This would be a clear grammar mistake. And it's a really common one. And it's confusing because you're like, I'm an American. That makes sense. Why can't I say I'm a Japanese? The reason why is because American is both a noun and an adjective. While Japanese, Taiwanese, Chinese, these are all only adjectives. So here's what you should say. I'm Japanese, or Chinese, or Spanish, or whatever culture ends that isn't ending in an okay? You could also say, I'm a Japanese person, okay? Or citizen. Both of these work. But if you say, I'm a Japanese, unfortunately, that will be wrong. So please make sure you guys pay attention to this when you're talking about yourself and you're introducing yourself or your culture. Only add the and if you come from a place like America or Canada. Okay. Like I said in chat, if you guys want to tell me your own cultures right here, we can add it to the list and then start talking about it. What we're trying to do here is making sure we have a broad range of vocabulary so that it looks like you have great vocab muscles. Like I said, this is a common mistake. Make sure if it's an adjective, you never use it like a noun. Let's talk about, while I'm waiting for you guys to get over your shyness and start talking in chat, let's talk about American culture, just to give you guys some ideas here. And then I hope as you guys start talking in chat that we can make sure we have some words for your own festivals. So some cultural festivals in America, we have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas, and then what else do we have? We have the 4th of July, so Independence Day. If you guys saw the movie, maybe you know it's the 4th of July. Okay. And again, if you guys want to tell me your own holidays, your own cultural festivals, let me know. Because that's probably what you guys will probably be using on your tests, is talking about your own cultural festivals and holidays. Are there any other cultural festivals or holidays for Americans? Let me think. We have Christmas, Independence Day. I guess we do have a couple more, though these are more minor. We have Valentine's Day. We have St. Patrick's Day. We have April Fools. What are some more minor ones? Mother's Day, Father's Day. And this is actually quite interesting. Mother's Day and Father's Day is not the same all over the world. This blew my mind. Let me know if it's the same with your guys' culture. Okay. So just to dive in a little bit more here, for a cultural festival or holiday, let's really dive into Thanksgiving here. Let's make sure that we have the words that we can use to describe it. Again, I would love to do this with your own cultural festival or holiday. I just need you guys to let me know in chat what holidays you guys celebrate. Okay, so on Thanksgiving, we have a couple of traditions. We have our food. So we eat a couple things really only on Thanksgiving. We have turkey and stuffing. We also have mashed potatoes. We might have a ham. We often have gravy, which is like a thick soup. If you guys want pictures of any of these, just let me know and I can show them. What are some more things? We have pumpkin pie, apple pie. So many great desserts in America. Let's see. Mashed potatoes, green beans. Sometimes you have baked beans. Okay. Yeah. And that's the food. What about for activities? So some Thanksgiving activities that we have. You may watch the Super Bowl. I think that they have this set up on purpose where or watch football, where they have really big important football games that happen on Thanksgiving. So a lot of families get together, so gather around the TV in the living room and watch a game. Just to give you guys a sentence frame that you guys can use. And I want to remind you guys, if you guys are joining, that you guys, first of all, can say hi in chat. Let me know that you're here. And then also, don't forget that in the description of the video right here, you can click this first link and you guys can see the document yourself. We do this for two reasons. First of all, some of you guys may prefer to take your time, pause, and really listen to what I'm saying. The other reason is for mobile users, it's often, so if you're watching on your phone, it's often a bit blurry. So you guys can follow along by watching this, by looking at the document. Okay, again, if you guys have your own cultural holidays, let me know so that I can help you say the right vocabulary to describe it. The reason why we're doing culture is because so many students have trouble describing cultural aspects in English. You guys know how to say it in your native language, but when you have to describe a festival or a cultural aspect, it's often pretty hard. So people watch the Super Bowl. They fall into a food coma. This is what happens when you eat way too much food and then you get really sleepy and fall asleep. This is often something that people do. Here's another thing that Americans often do. We argue with our in-laws. If you want to be a bit nicer, you can say we visit extended family. And again, I want to point out these collocations here. Argue with our in-laws, visit extended family. This is higher level ways of saying things that you probably wanted to say anyway. So again, that's one of the reasons we're doing this live stream, is to give you guys the vocab that you need to raise your vocab score. So visit extended family, go to a family reunion. That's a little... visit extended family is probably the best way to say it. We often get together as a family each Thanksgiving. Or to give you another thing that people do, we alternate between parents, between families each year. So last year, we visited my wife's family. And this year, we will see my parents. Okay. And of course, you can always change this. Instead of saying my wife's family, my dad's family, my mom's family, depending on your age. Maybe you're not married yet, which is totally fine. Okay, so we have activities, things that we do on Thanksgiving. We watch TV, we visit our family. If you want to continue going down this route and say something specific that a lot of people have trouble with, I always get asked annoying questions by my grandparents. They're always asking me when I'm going to settle down, when I'm going to get married, when I'm going to start giving them grandchildren. Now, I'm lucky. I have grandparents who had tons of children, so I don't get pressured into this. But the reason I put this up here is that I have taught so many students where this is the norm in their culture. So, for example, I'm living in Taiwan. I lived in China beforehand, and this is something that they often experience. When they go and visit their grandparents or their parents, if they're a bit older, they always get asked really annoying questions. When are you going to have grandkids for us? When are you going to settle down and find a nice boy? When are you going to settle down and find a nice girl? So maybe if your culture has the same problem, you guys will find this sentence useful. Let me know in chat if this is something that happens to you. Okay. So these are activities for Thanksgiving. Let's see. There's probably one or two more categories that I want to bring up. Probably describing the history of this holiday. And this is something that you often may have to do. So being able to have sentences to do so are extremely useful. This holiday started way back with the first pilgrims or people who came to America. Let's give some higher level grammar here, which is what we called some of the first Europeans who came to America, arriving on the East Coast. The story goes, and I can totally spell. The story goes that these settlers were starving because they weren't prepared for winter. The local tribes came and gave them food. Luckily, the settlers survived, and we celebrate Thanksgiving to give thanks to the Indians who saved them. Okay, so I want to point out some high-level grammar that I used here that I hope you guys steal. Right here, which is what we called some of the first Europeans. This right here is a relative clause that is describing the Pilgrims. Now this is doing two things. First of all, I'm using a relative clause right here. This is a non-defining relative clause, which is just giving extra information about the Pilgrims. The second thing I want to point out here is that I'm defining what I said. I'm paraphrasing what I'm said. So pilgrims is a high-level word, but I want to show the examiner, hey, I know what this word means. And so I add this comma, and then I explain what the word means. And then not only do I have one relative clause, I have a second relative clause. And this is describing the Europeans. So I'm using two relative clauses in a sentence, really showing my grammar muscles here. I hope you guys do the same. Another thing that I want to point out is the story goes. This is a nice high-level bit of vocab that I hope you guys steal. This could be a sentence frame. This is a high-level way that you can introduce a historical story that you're using to that you use to describe your own thing. Remember, guys, if you guys let me know in chat or talk to me in chat, I can use these sentences to help you describe your own historical festival. That's why I'm here. Okay, so again, you guys can go through this, steal what you want. We always want our students to steal from us. And again, you guys can look at this yourself on your own time by just clicking the link down here. If you do that and you like what you see, please make sure you hit that like button. It does help us out a lot. Okay, so describing the history of this holiday, we've done a pretty good job there. Oh no. We've done a pretty good job there. Let's see, is there anything else that I want to talk about? We talked about the food, we talked about the activities, we talked about the history of the holiday. Okay. We could maybe add a little bit more information here. We could add some sentences, but I think you guys are probably bored of Thanksgiving. Don't worry, we are not going to do this with every single one here, but I recommend that you guys do the same. Look at the sentences that I did and try to do the same with a cultural holiday that you have. That way, you can be prepared if you need to talk about something like this then. Let's see. We talked about different cultures. Again, I would love to hear your own cultures right here. Anytime that you're watching, just let me know. I'll add it to it. Aspects of a culture. This is a bit interesting. What are some different things that we use to differentiate cultures? What are some things that we do that says my culture is different from your culture? There's food. There's traditions. There's holidays or special days. Okay. There's clothing. And I guess history would fall under culture. Like there's a cultural history. Um, let's see if there are any historical figures. And I see that someone has joined. This makes me super happy. Hello, Anonymous Chipmunk. Nice. Yeah. So historical figures, history, clothing, special days, holidays, food, anything else that would be defined by culture. Here's one. Language. Okay. So these are all things that we use to distinguish our culture from other cultures. Just to give you some examples, with me and Phil, he's British, I'm American. We have different food. Phil eats weird, boring things. I'm an American, so I eat unhealthy, exciting food. We have a lot of different traditions. We share some traditions. Some shared traditions. Like we both probably have Christmas. I have Thanksgiving. He has Boxing Day. So the holidays are different. What we do on Christmas may be different. In America, a lot of people go to church or go to Mass if you're Catholic on Christmas. Actually, because Christmas is usually, it's kind of a universal holiday, even if you're not Christian. So a lot of, so this is something, a lot of people who aren't Christian in America, actually, they go to a Chinese restaurant on Christmas. This is really funny. Because a lot of restaurants celebrate Christmas, and what that means is that the restaurants are closed so that the workers can have a day off. But often Chinese restaurants in America are open on Christmas because the people who work there don't celebrate Christmas. And so what a lot of other cultures, just one example that comes to mind are Jewish people. There's a stereotype that a lot of Jewish people will go to Chinese restaurants on Christmas because of course they don't celebrate Christmas. And yeah, apparently this is big business for Chinese restaurants on Christmas Day, which I think is fantastic. So if you guys have some traditions of your culture that you want to share, even if you don't think that your English is very good, I can help you out. This is why we're having Vocab Day. You guys can let me know in chat. Just tell me a holiday, tell me what you do, and then I'll help you out. I'll give you a higher way to say in both grammar and vocabulary. So foods and attire. We already talked about some foods here. Let me give you some that are not specific to a holiday. Sometimes they're specific to a different culture or region. Haggis is a great example. Not many people know haggis. Haggis is sheep stomach. It's actually not only sheep stomach, it's stuffed sheep stomach. And what that means is that this is a special food for Scotland. They eat a lot of sheep, and so they have haggis. Let me think. Are there any other traditional foods that are like specific? Okay. Here's another one. American Chinese food, which is very different from real or authentic Chinese food. I can tell you this for sure. So in America, we have these places like, we often call them, so there's Chinese restaurants, of course. But there's many Chinese restaurants that are actually Chinese buffets. And what a buffet is it's like a cafeteria. It's a restaurant. So there's tables where you and your family will sit. And then there's a buffet, which means that you go up and they give you a plate. All you can eat Chinese buffets. So you go up and you have a plate and you fill it up with any food from the buffet. Which is like a counter specifically for holding food. And then you bring it back and you scarf it down. And you can eat as many plates as you want. And the food is often very cheap and greasy. but it's delicious. So, and a lot of people like Chinese buffets, me included. When I moved to China and then when I moved to Taiwan, it was really interesting because there's a lot of Chinese American food or American Chinese food that doesn't exist in Asia. Like General Tso's chicken is a great example. Tso's chicken, sweet and sour chicken. Like there's a lot of food that just doesn't exist. And it's really funny. To give you, and you know what's really interesting about this? I'm going to tell you a little story here. I went to Europe with some friends to travel maybe 4 years ago now. And we were in Italy, and I loved Italy. Italy was my favorite country in Europe, mainly because of the food. I love food. But one night, it was really late, and there were no restaurants open. Italy closes really early, actually. The only restaurant that was open was a Chinese buffet. And I told my friends, we need to go there, I'm hungry. And so we went to the Chinese buffet, and I was really expecting it to be different. But when we sat down and we went and we saw the food, it was all American Chinese food. Apparently, American Chinese food is a universal thing. If you go to a Chinese restaurant in Europe, like a all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet, it will be just like an all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet in America. They're universal. It's hilarious. I thought that this was the funniest thing in the world. Okay. So, if anyone has a similar story, let me know. I want to move on to attire, though, because this is something that a lot of people just don't have the vocabulary to talk about. So, traditional attire. This is another way of saying clothes. So, many people don't have this vocabulary because it's not so common anymore. So if we talk about like special clothes, okay, these are clothes that you wear on special occasions. We have some things like a graduation gown, a confirmation gown, if you're Catholic. Let's see, Halloween outfits. So this could be for school or trick-or-treating. Oh my goodness, that is another one that we need to add. How did I forget this? Halloween! It is minor, but it's Halloween. How did I forget Halloween? Jeez. And again, Halloween is an American tradition. I thought it was really weird when I went to Europe and learned they don't celebrate Halloween there. It's only American. But it's a really fun holiday. So if you guys want to adopt that, feel free. So you would wear special clothes on these occasions. So a graduation gown is what you wear with when you graduate. But these are special occasions. If we're talking about like traditional clothes, it's interesting because America doesn't really have a traditional garb. America is a country of immigrants. We have clothes from all over the world when people are coming, and we have different clothes for different time periods. But it's, if you ask an American, what's some traditional clothes from your country, a lot of people would not be able to answer you. It's a weird question to ask an American. But if you ask someone from another culture that's longer lived, like they've been there for longer, they may be able to tell you some answers. So just as an example for Taiwan or China. Okay. There are some traditional clothes. Maybe Japan is a little bit easier because they still wear them. I actually have some Japanese traditional clothing. Crap. What is it called? Japanese traditional clothing. They have special names. A kimono. There we go. A kimono and a yukata. I have the male version of a kimono. Yes. Kimono is a great, and I totally spelled that wrong. Kimono. Okay. Kimono. I totally spelled that wrong. But I hope you guys realize the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's something that you can... I hope you guys can think about your own clothes and your own culture. You guys are able to use words from your own culture as long as you use a special sentence frame to help you out. So just as an example, I actually own a Japanese kimono, which in English, which doesn't have, which is an article of clothing that doesn't have an English name or an English equivalent if you want to be a bit fancier. Okay. So this is a sentence frame that I highly recommend you learn. This is a really useful sentence in a lot of different situations, both when you're talking about food or if you're talking about clothes or anything else. There are certain things that exist in your culture that don't exist in American culture or UK culture or English-speaking culture. And so we don't have a name for it. So it's really important that you guys learn this word so that when you use this word, you can explain why you said this word that wasn't in English. It is okay to say, like, if you're talking about a famous actor from your culture, from your country, and if they don't have an English name, it's okay to say the person's name, even though it's not in English. It's the same thing here. A kimono is, what we call it in English is a kimono. But I hope you guys see that you can use this sentence frame, which is food, which is an article of clothing that doesn't have an English name. Yeah. Of course, after that, you should always try to describe these things. It looks a little bit like a long dress. It is a single piece of cloth that you wear over your undergarments or underwear. It is quite comfortable, and they have heavy ones for the winter and lighter ones for the summer. Again, I'm typing all this out so that you guys can steal it and change it for your own situations. It looks a little bit like. Great sentence frame to steal. I highly recommend you do it. It is quite comfortable, and they have heavy ones for the winter and lighter ones for the summer. This is talking about like the weight of the cloth. Again, just steal it. Yeah, I'm going to add one more sentence frame here, just because I'm an American, so I have this situation. We actually don't have many traditional American clothes. Our cultural history isn't that long, at least for those of us who have European heritage. I do actually own one traditional piece of clothing, but it's Japanese. And then after this, I could talk about this sentence. But what I want to point out here is I do actually own one piece of traditional clothing, but... Okay. What I want to point out is even if I don't have this experience of wearing traditional clothes, because I can't think of any American traditional clothes, I can still talk about other traditional clothes that I've worn. So it's important, even if you say no to something on the exam, it's important that you always have some sort of detail to back up what you're saying. In this case, I'm saying I have different cultures or different countries' traditional clothing, but again, I'm explaining that. So first I say why I don't have this experience. Then I'm going to say an experience that I do have. So I'm not just saying, oh, I've never worn any traditional clothes. That's a very that's a lame answer. It's good enough because you're directly answering it, but the examiner will push you to give some more information. Okay. So we've talked about some special clothes, some clothes that you may wear at different times. We have some traditional clothes from Japan. Again, if anyone is brave enough to tell me about your own culture, I would love to give you some sentences to describe that. But if that's about it for broad, I think what we're going to do is we're going to move on to this next section. So we may come back to writing task 2 because this is really interesting. But I know that a lot of you guys prefer to do the stuff that deals with speaking first. Unfortunately, cultural vocabulary will not help you with task 1 writing. But yeah, let's go to cultural speaking part 1. Now, for this next part, are there actually people chatting and I don't see it? Oh no, I'm so sorry, guys. Apparently you guys were chatting, but my phone was not updating. I'm very embarrassed. Let me pop out the chat. Oh my goodness, there's tons of people. Okay. Hello, guys. I see that you guys have... Whoa, there's so much. Okay. Give me a second to just go through the chat. And let me answer some of these questions. What's the difference between cross-cultural and multicultural from Van Tran? Oh, it looks like Robin, thank you so much for answering that already. And yeah, awesome. So let's see. Yep. Bye. Thank you so much for saying a cultural dress that you use. Okay. So we'll go up. We'll quickly talk about buys, and then we will go back to doing speaking. I'm so glad that I have been told that you guys were here. I'm sorry that I've been talking over you guys. Oh, man. Okay. So this was from Bai. The Cheon Gazma is a body-hugging one-piece Chinese dress for women. The grammar here is perfect. If I was going to add some details, I would probably say some things like, I would probably give an example of one that I own. Yeah, or when it was worn. Okay. So if you could add some details that you may know. If you don't, maybe you should look it up. But when was it worn? And this is like what time period? Who wore it? Was it the upper class? Was it the peasant class? What were the situations? And then describe it a little more. Body-hugging one-piece dress is actually a fantastic high-level vocab to use. But these are just some additional details that you may want to add. So, Bai, if you want, feel free to answer some of these questions in the chat. And I'll let you know how if you continue to have fantastic grammar like this one. But let's move on down to speaking about culture part 1. Now, this next part, I am not going to be coming up with questions. This is all about you guys. So I'm so glad that it was pointed out to me that you guys are talking in chat. So if you guys could please tell me some questions that you may have to answer about culture. Now, remember, this may be about culture in general, but this may be specific, like cultural clothing, language, cultural foods, holidays. Can you guys tell me some questions that you guys may have to answer in speaking part 1. I'll give you guys a minute or two to come up with some questions. Yeah. And then I'll put them up here, and I'll fix them if need be. Of course, after we have maybe 6 to 10 questions, then we'll start answering them. And then we'll move on to speaking part 3. So, can you guys help me out? What are some questions that you guys may be asked? So, for example, you may be asked, what is your favorite cultural holiday? What did you do during your last festival, cultural festival? If you guys could please come up with some here. Okay, bye. That's a great one. Let me throw that up here. Okay, are there any traditional clothes in your country? And in America, I would have to say no for me, but there are actually traditional clothes for Native Americans, which is interesting. And just as another thing that they may ask, have you ever worn any traditional clothes from your country? Okay. Nice. ABICI. Nice. I see another great one here. So this is more of a part 3 speaking question, ABICI. I want to try to focus on the part 1s. So remember, part 1 is always going to be about you and your situation. So your own personal experiences. Nice. That's a good one. Bye. You're on fire with these. You're really good at coming up with these questions. Okay. And this is open to everyone, by the way. So feel free. I will fix any grammar mistakes that you have. Don't worry. Yeah. What do people usually do to celebrate these holidays? Or that holiday? If you were talking about a specific one earlier. All right. Give me about 3 or 4 more, and then we can start answering these. And remember, it's not only about culture. It could be about food, holidays, clothes. Culture may not be in the sentence itself, but it still will be about your culture. Okay. Nice one, Robin. Let me throw that up here as well. Do you enjoy any food from other cultures? Nice. What else you got? I'm going to get myself some water and give you guys 1 more minute to come up with as many ideas as you can. Okay. So another 20 seconds to see if there's any more. Ooh. I like that one, ABICI. Let me just throw that up here. And this actually, I think we can turn this into a part 3 question that's really similar. Is it possible to truly understand another culture if you don't speak or know the language? Okay. Nice. All right. Good job, guys. Now, next up, In this next section, we're going to stick to speaking part 1. I want you guys to choose one of these and give your own answer in the chat, and I will put it up there and fix it or level it up and make it even stronger with better grammar and vocab. And if there's any of these that you would like me to answer, just let me know. So if you guys could please let me know in chat. If you guys could please let me know in chat, give me some of your own answers. I will love to fix them, help them, or tell you if they're perfect. And also let me know if you guys want me to answer any of these. All right, I'll give you guys a minute or two to answer these yourselves in chat, and then we'll get to work. My favorite part. Come on, guys, be brave, especially now that I can see that everyone is actually talking. Oh man, that was so embarrassing. Okay. ABICI, oh no! You copied Bai's question! How dare you! I guess great minds think alike. So can you guys give some of your own answers? I know it takes a little while to think, but I also know a lot of you guys are regulars and you're able to come up with these answers quite quickly. So please answer one or two of these questions. Just make sure you tell me which one you're answering. And while you guys are doing that, I'm just going to add a little section down here to tell you guys that there's often some question beginnings that you need to get used to. What do you usually ... What did you do last time? ... Have you ... Would you ... Okay. So what I'm doing here is to point out that a lot of times you are going to be asked the same type of question. Like, these sentence frames are used over and over again, and you guys need to get used to answering these for different types of questions. If you guys have been with me for any time at all, you guys would probably have noticed these patterns, or maybe you haven't. And I'm pointing this out and you guys are going, thank you, Teacher Michael, you are the best. So obviously when you do what do you usually, or if you're using present simple, please make sure you use present simple here. Talk about one specific time. So last time, talk about the last time that you had this. Have you ever? You're going to start saying, yes, I have, or no, I haven't, and then go into details. And would you? This is talking about if you had that possibility, second conditional. Okay, it looks like we have our first answer from Bai. Thank you so much for this. Ooh, nice. So do you enjoy foods from other cultures? Let's format this a little bit better. Hands down. Bai, I'm so glad that you're trying to use this high-level stuff. Unfortunately, it's not used quite the right way. We'll talk about this in a sec. I am actually a big foodie. Japanese food definitely is one of my favorites. I'm going to highlight this as well. I know this is probably just a small grammar thing that you just forgot, but I can also see a lot of people just forgetting to say the verb. So Japanese food is definitely one of my favorites. I hope you guys learn this as a chunk. One of my favorites You will say the S if you say one of my favorites. I never get bored of sushi and sashimi. This is a great answer. I never get bored. Okay. Now, just to help you guys out with hands down, and of course, you guys can write your own answers, just like Bai did. Hands down is not quite the right thing here. Just to tell you guys how we can use it, that was hands down the best Chinese food I've ever had. That was hands down the best movie of 2021. What hands down means is that there's no competition. Yeah. So thank you for trying to use a new high-level vocabulary, Bai. That's fantastic. Just make sure you use it in this sentence frame. Yes. Okay. Bai, thanks so much for putting that up there. Awesome job. Anybody else have some? And Bai, if you want to throw another one up, happy to help you out here. We won't spend too much time on speaking part 1. Most of you guys who are here are already regulars and don't have too much trouble with what do you call it? With part 1. So we will move on to speaking part 3 after this. But I do want to answer 1 or 2 more so that I can help you guys out here. Hands down. Teacher Michael is hands down the best teacher on YouTube. That's a fact. You guys can tell people that. Okay. So ABCI, which one are you answering? Okay. It looks like you're doing the one about clothing. Okay, so are there any traditional clothes in your country? Let's look at this answer. And if anyone is watching this in the future, I want to point out that this is a free live stream open to everyone. So feel free to stop by next Tuesday. And this will be on Tuesdays for the foreseeable future. So these will be on Tuesday in the future. Sorry about the change, but it is because I have a new class on Mondays. So we are moving it to whatchamacallit today. Okay. So I'm proud to say Vietnam is famous for Attire, a traditional piece of clothing which is usually worn by Vietnamese women. Nice detail. Sorry, and let me actually put this in the right section. Jeez, I must be going crazy. Okay. So I'm proud to say Vietnam is famous for Attire, a traditional piece of clothing. So let me fix this up. Piece of clothing, which is normally... So I'll put this in orange to highlight that it was a mistake, which is normally worn by Vietnamese women. Was great. We actually used it several times in Miss Universe, which is fantastic. Okay. This, it's not wrong, but it's weird to say. So are there any traditional clothes? Oh, I'm proud to say Vietnamese is famous for... The logic here is a little bit strange. Mainly because you're saying, I'm proud to say. So I'm going to rearrange the ideas here. The ideas you had are fine. I'm just going to change the order a little bit to make it a little bit clearer. Also, what's the difference between clothes and clothing? Clothes, it's... Wow. We use clothes generally when we talk about what we are going to wear. We use clothing if we're talking about the idea of clothes. So, for example, there are some times when you can use both. My girlfriend has a lot of clothes. My girlfriend has a lot of clothing. Both work. What clothes are you going to wear tomorrow? If you said what clothing are you going to wear tomorrow, that's weird. It's not technically wrong, but it's weird. It's not what we would say. Clothing is an extremely important part of culture. So here, clothing means the idea of clothing. So clothing is an important part of culture. That is a perfect sentence. If you said clothes is an important part of culture, that's okay, but it's a little strange. So generally, if you're talking about like what you wear, you will say clothes. If you're talking about the idea, you say clothing. But let's fix ABCI's question. So are there any traditional clothes in your country? Of course, we should first say yes. Yes, there are. In fact, I'm proud to say that we won, that we had women who won the Miss Universe contest. Wearing a famous piece of Vietnamese clothing. It's called an Attire, which is a traditional piece of clothing worn by Vietnamese women. Okay. So this last part, I'm keeping it because it's a nice sentence frame, but it's a little bit strange because it's a little bit redundant. Yeah. So yes, there are. In fact, I'm proud to say we had women. So here, instead of saying that you're proud that Vietnam has a famous piece of traditional clothing, that's a little bit weird to say. That's like, I'm so proud Americans have hamburgers. What's a little bit better would be to say, I'm proud to say that we had women who won the Miss Universe contest. This is something that is normal to be proud of. And they were wearing sorry, I keep saying Japanese because that's what I was talking about earlier. The Vietnamese clothing. So you're proud that there were some women who wore the Vietnamese clothing and won Miss Universe. That's what you're proud of. Yeah, I hope that this is clear and helps you out. And yeah, if you guys have some more answers, let me know. And Van Tran, it looks like you have another question here that I can add. So have you ever approached to another culture? I'm not sure quite what you mean here, Van Tran. So let me change this. There is something that might... Have you ever appropriated something that came from another culture? Now this is probably higher level than you would see. And this is a little bit, it's not like, doing this is not a good thing, but it's not a bad word to say. This is the same thing as saying, have you ever worn clothes? Traditional, let's make this better. Traditional clothes from another culture. This is more likely what you would see. This is higher level. Appropriated. Appropriated is actually really similar to the title that you guys saw, a culture vulture, which actually, now that I say it out loud, is really fun to say, a culture vulture. So a culture vulture is not a good thing. It's a bad thing. It's when you take someone else's culture, and you take a piece of it and you claim it for your own. So this is something a little bit sensitive in America, where people take, where typically white people will take aspects of Asian or black culture and make it their own, and without saying that it came from black or Asian culture. And so this is a problem in America where we are quite sensitive about these kinds of things. Yeah. Okay. Have you ever lived in another culture? That is another great question. Have you ever lived in another culture? Good question. Weird phrasing. I'm trying to think of another way to say it and I can't. Have you ever lived in another country? Lived anywhere that had a very different culture from yours? Okay. This is okay. This would be a better question. Okay. Are there any of these questions that you would like me to answer? And does anyone else feel brave and want to have their own? I hope you guys don't see me taking like Bai's question or Van Tran's question and fixing it as like scary. Because, you know what, even though both Bai and ABCI are great English users, but the whole reason you guys are here is so that I can help you guys become even better ones. So don't be afraid of putting an answer out there and then me tearing it apart, because I'm trying to make it stronger. I'm trying to make it better, giving you the best possible vocab that you can steal. So if anyone else wants me to answer a question or has an answer to a question, feel free. In the meantime, for those of you guys who are getting tired of part 1, we're going to move down to part 3. We already have speaking part 3. We have a few. I think these were from ABCICI. If you guys could please come up with some more questions here and let me know. And I'll put them up and then we'll start answering them. I know this is why you guys are really here. You guys just love speaking part 3 questions, which I understand. They're a lot more interesting. Talking about ideas in general. Ooh, Robin has a question for me. Michael, do you enjoy food from other cultures? Let me give an answer there. And I will say, I absolutely love food from other cultures. I actually prefer these more exotic food to typical American cuisine. I love Japanese sushi. I love Chinese stir fry and dumplings. I love real pizza. You know, the stuff from Italy. Not that crappy American pizza. And I even love haggis from Scotland. I just love foreign food. I love the tastes and the experience. Okay. Did I spell haggis wrong? Haggis is spelled with 2 G's and an I. Oh my goodness. Okay. I love Chinese stir fry and dumplings. I love real pizza. You know, the stuff from Italy, not that crappy American pizza. And I even love haggis from Scotland. I just love foreign food. I love the tastes and the experience. Okay. And I hope you guys find this useful. I directly answered the question, and then I showed off my vocab by talking about all the different types of food. Sushi, Chinese stir-fry, dumplings, and then haggis. I also showed off some great grammar, more exotic versus typical. Prefer one to another. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's look here at Bai's answer. For favorite holiday. Okay. Let's put hers up there and get to work. Okay. So Christmas. We need the verb. So sad. 2 times. Okay. So Christmas is definitely my favorite holiday. I really enjoy... Okay. Because you use past tense, Bai, do you still enjoy Christmas? I think you probably do. So you would say, I really enjoy, because you enjoy the holiday each year. And then after enjoy, we will always say this as seeing. I really enjoy seeing the whole city full of Christmas decorations. Nice. I think Christmas is a great chance to express our gratitude and love to people who are near and dear. Ooh. Near and dear. I like that one. Used correctly and high level. Okay. Christmas is a great chance to express our gratitude and love to people who are near and dear. The one thing I would probably say is this is a little bit of a jump. You would probably want to say how you express your gratitude. I think Christmas is a great chance to express our gratitude and love to people who are near and dear through gift giving. Okay. This last part is pretty important because you need to say how you're expressing your gratitude. Yeah. But yeah, this is pretty great. Thanks. I'm glad Christmas is your favorite holiday. Or was this a lie for the IELTS exam? Which is totally okay. Alright guys, let's go down to part 3 now. I need you guys to come up with some more questions that are about culture in general. So we have some great ones here. Can we come up with some more? I'm going to give you guys maybe 2 minutes to type up some questions that we can answer, and then we'll get to answering them. So I'm going to go grab some water while you guys type up some answers. I can't wait to see them. Okay, hello, Hanni. Yeah, I will fix yours while everyone else, if you guys could please work on coming up with questions for Speaking Culture Part 3. In the meantime, I will be working on Hanni's answer. Okay, and she's entering the one of have you, which is nice. Have you ever worn any traditional clothes from your country? Absolutely yes. This is okay, but it's a little strong. Have you ever worn any traditional clothes? Yes! It's not wrong. It's great that you're directly answering it first. Absolutely just is really strong to get started. I would probably just say yes. Yes, I have. Definitely. Absolutely is really strong. I was born in Vietnam, where is... So here, be careful. Which is... we use where when it's going to be followed by a subject. Which, because you have is, you will say which here, which is synonymous with I die. So I was born in Vietnam, which is synonymous with I die. This is my national costume. National costume sounds a little strange to me. And I also own a Vietnamese I die. Here, I'm going to change this to use referencing to make sure that you don't repeat yourself too much. And I also own one. Now, national costume. So I'm going to change it a little bit. So I would say, yeah, definitely. Of course I have. I even own one. Okay. In Vietnam, our national garb, national costume, do different, so there are things like a national bird for let's do America. Everyone knows America's national bird is the bald eagle. You can also have a national or a state flower. For example, for Illinois, is the common blue violet. Can you have a national costume of Vietnam? Let's see. The national traditional dress. This is the phrase that I would use. Yes. So our national traditional garb is the Al Dai. Okay. So let me rearrange this a little bit. Yeah, definitely. In Vietnam, our national traditional garb is the Al Dai. I actually own one. Now, if you wanted to add a few more details here, I would probably add why you own one, or when you wore it. Both of these would be great details to add. This is a good sentence frame. I liked this. This is high level, and this is good that you tried to use it. The reason I got rid of it is that the logic didn't quite match here. So I was born in Vietnam. This is kind of like extra information that you don't need to say. Instead, you can say, in Vietnam, our national traditional garb or dress is the Al Dai. I actually own one. And then if you want to add some more details, I would add these. Why you own one, so who gave it to you, what was the special occasion you got it, did you just pick it up because you thought it looked nice, or when you wore it. A lot of times when you have a sentence or a question that starts with have you ever, what they really want you to say is they want you to add details here. So yes, I have done that. Let me tell you about it. When you answer it first, you'll say present perfect. Yes, I have. But then after that, when you talk about the details, you're probably going to use past simple. So when you wore it, make sure that all of your details here are in past simple. Okay, thanks for putting this up. That was a great answer. I hope that this has helped you. And let me put this on the next page so it's clear. Okay, and let me go down. I saw some people have been putting up speaking part 3 stuff, which is great. It's exactly what I asked for. How has your culture changed in the last 20 years? Great job, Robin. Okay. How can we shrink the misunderstanding that is caused by cultural differences? Oh, that's tough. I have a feeling you guys are going to ask me to say this one. That is caused. Oh man, bye. Why do you hate the be verb so much? I feel your hatred for this word bye. I can feel it simmering. You just hate is so much. And what are some benefits of learning of other cultures? Nice. These are all great, great questions. What I want you guys to do now, if you guys can think of any more for cultural speaking part 3, feel free to throw it in chat. But what I want you guys to do is start answering some of these. Put your answers in chat, and just like we've been doing, I will make it better, faster, stronger than before. Also, if you guys want me to answer any of these, just do what Robin did earlier and say Michael, comma, and then ask me the question. All right, guys, feel free to go to town. Give me some fantastic answers, and I will help you make them perfect. I also hope that you guys study this YouTube video to give us more watch time, and also so that you guys are ready for Phil on Friday. Remember, on Friday, Phil will be doing a mock exam. He'll probably steal some of these questions. We're making his job a lot easier. So make sure that you are ready to answer them. Uzal, I'm sorry you feel that way. Don't worry too much. You're here now. That's what matters. We did change the schedule up a bit, so it's not your fault, Uzal. It's my fault. By the way, a nice word that you guys can steal just at the bottom down here. I'll add some idioms and words. That's a knee slapper. And then I'm fashionably late. Though normally you would probably say I was fashionably late. So this is describing Uzal right now. He was the perfect amount of late. Yes. If you're fashionably late, that means you're late, but you came at the right time. You came at the time when it was cool. If you come right on time, that means that you're weird. It means you're a nerd. You're too punctual. You want to come late, but you don't want to come too late where it's insulting. You come fashionably late. The party starts when you arrive. And by the way, a knee slapper means something that is so funny that it makes you slap your knee. Me not realizing that people were talking in chat was a knee slapper. Yes. It's used to describe a joke. Okay, give me some answers, guys. And remember, if you guys are just joining us and you can't read because you're on mobile, don't forget you guys can always click this link and open it up and join us. Okay, give me some answers. Remember, on the real test, you'll have to answer it right away. And of course, if you guys want me to answer a question, just ask. It's perfectly fine. right. Oh man, you guys want me to answer it. Cowards, all of you. I'm just teasing, of course. ABCI, I will do yours first. How has your culture changed in the last 20 years? So, I'm an American, and our culture has gone through a number of huge shifts over that time. Thinking back to 20 years ago, that was actually right around the time of 9/11. You know, the terrorists' attacks on the Twin Towers and Pentagon. After that, and actually, because of it, our country became a lot more patriotic and warlike. A lot of people joined the military. But that was 20 years ago. Even right now, our culture is experiencing a huge upheaval. It is divided. We, as Americans, are divided more now than ever. There are fewer and fewer moderates, and more people becoming more extreme on either side of the political spectrum. It's actually rather scary. Okay, this is a long answer. So if you guys want to take a minute to read through it, take your time. Of course, I can explain any words that you don't know, any sentences that you don't understand. And I'm only talking about two cultural shifts. I'm talking about the one that happened 20 years ago, and then I'm also talking about ones that we are in the middle of, because it's still changing. American culture is in the middle of a huge change right now, because the people on the left and the people on the right are just hating each other more, and we're getting stuck in these echo chambers where we're only hearing our side of the story, and we're having less and less sympathy and empathy for the people on the other side, and it is actually really scary. I'm kind of afraid what's going to happen in America in the next couple of years. And by the way, this is a live stream. If you guys have any questions about like American culture or the situation in America right now, or what life is like as an American, you guys can ask these questions too. This is not only about, preparing for the IELTS exam and learning vocabulary. Culture is a large part of learning a language. Do you guys want to know one of the best indicators for successfully learning a language is? It's not how hard you work. It's not whether or not you have a job or some other extrinsic goal. The best indicator for whether or not someone successfully learns a language is whether or not they have friends who speak that language. Really, that's the best indicator for success. The best thing you can do is make sure you have friends who maybe only speak English. It's pretty easy. A lot of English speakers only speak one language. But yeah, and if you make friends, you'll want to learn English more. And that's something I recommend you do. Go find a friend. Okay. Uzal says, can you give me some best scholarship name in the US? Unfortunately, I do not have that information at my fingertips. And actually, that's a great phrase here. I actually don't have that information at my fingertips. Man, Uzal, every time I talk to you, I use some great collocations and words here. Okay. Yeah, I actually don't know that much about scholarships in the US. I was very lucky. My parents paid for my education. And so I didn't need to take any, and so I didn't look for any, which was actually really stupid. I really should have looked for scholarships to help my parents out. But I was young and dumb. So, yes. Unfortunately, I can't help you too much with scholarships. But I can tell you, if you go to your school's website, I guarantee you they have a section that is all about scholarships. And schools also have entire departments for helping students find scholarships. You can call up that department if you're enrolling and say, hey, what scholarships are available? This information is out there, not only on the internet, but there are people you can call and talk to get that information. Raghev says, natives are superfluous. Sorry, let me look up that word really fast. I know it's a real word, I just completely forgot the meaning. Oh no, that's terrible. I hope you don't just mean English speakers. But yes, there are a lot of native English speakers who they think the only language they need to learn is English, and that's kind of stupid, especially for expats. But it's a really common view that they have. And to be fair, like, it's true that they can survive with only English most places they go, just because so many people are learning English. But it's still not a very nice view to have. Just because you can survive doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Bai also wanted me to answer number 4. So number 2 and number 4. Number 2 and number 4. You guys are going to have me answer all of these, aren't you? Don't forget to put your own answers up here. This is why you guys are here, right? Not only to steal from me, but also to try out some of your own. So while I'm answering the next one, I highly recommend that you guys write your own. Okay, let me do number 2 for Bai. Is it possible to truly understand another culture if you don't speak or know the language? I honestly don't think that it's possible. There is so much depth to culture that is reflected in language. If you don't speak it, you are missing all of that nuance. I think it is arrogant to believe that you can understand another culture without learning its language. Okay, but just because that's the answer doesn't mean that's the only answer. I think it is possible. There are so many examples of people, expats, really, who live decades in another culture and are basically indistinguishable from natives, aside from the fact that they don't speak the language. They cook, live, and do. Hope you guys can still hear me. Okay, sorry, there was a little bit of a connection issue. Don't know why that happened, but we should be back now. Please let me know if you can hear me. Okay. So, we have We have two possible answers right here. Feel free to steal whatever you want from either one. I personally think that it's this. This is what I honestly think, but I can say the other side just as easily. Hopefully you guys can as well. If there's any words here, or phrases, or vocab that you don't understand, feel free to ask me. That's why I'm here. Going to Google is just, it doesn't give you the full picture. It just gives you the meaning. So if you guys really want, feel free to ask me about it. Okay. Final one that I will answer. Again, I really do hope that you guys give me some of your own answers here. I know you guys can do it. I believe in you. Don't be shy. But let me answer number 4 for by. How can we shrink the misunderstanding that is caused by the cultural difference? By cultural differences. Oh, by. You hate me so much. You give me such a difficult question to answer. But you have your own answers, so let's fix yours first, and then go to mine. Geez, you chose a hard one. Excellent job. I personally believe, let me highlight that. I personally believe that being patient is key. What I mean is sometimes even we couldn't fully understand someone's language, but we can still try to using body language to communicate. Okay. So here, I'm going to change this, even though this is a really common mistake that a lot of students have trouble with. I'm going to write them down right down here for everyone to see. Please, 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 this is for everyone. Learn the difference between even versus even if versus even though. Many students make a mistake between the three of these. They have different meanings. Even teacher Michael makes mistakes sometimes. Even if teacher Michael makes a mistake, no one will tell him he was wrong. And then even though teacher Michael has a big head and is full of himself, we still think he is the best teacher on YouTube. Okay, so here are 3 sentences to show you guys the different meanings. And again, I really do hope you guys study these. If you guys want to try to write your own sentences, I will let you know if you used it correctly or not. You can do this in the comments or right now in chat. Trust me, you guys need to practice this. This is not just by, this is everyone. I see these mistakes all the time, especially in speaking, because even if, the if is unstressed, even though the though is unstressed. So everyone just wants to say even, but the meaning is very different. Anyway, back up here. I personally believe that being patient is the key. This is a nice sentence frame. If you guys want to steal something, steal this. What I mean is, nice, I really like this. Sometimes, even though we couldn't fully understand someone's language, get rid of but, because even though, we can still try to use body language to communicate. Okay. Does this answer the question? How can we shrink the misunderstandings that is caused by cultural differences? How can we shrink the misunderstandings that is caused by cultural differences? Okay. I would say that this answer is okay. But your answer is kind of saying what individuals should do. And this part 3 question I feel like what it really wants to do is talk about society as a whole. So, what can society do to decrease these misunderstandings caused by cultural differences? Let me change this answer a little bit. I think education is key. We need people to understand that even though we all come from different backgrounds, we are still all human. So much strife is caused by people not understanding this basic truth. Okay. Let me get a little bit more direct to what Bai was saying. I personally believe that teaching people patience is key. What I mean is that most of these problems we have can be solved by people being patient and respectful of each other. Okay. Yeah. Okay, this is how I would change your answer by, just because your answer is quite specific to individuals, when I do feel like the we here means society. How can we as a society shrink the misunderstandings? Okay. Oh man, we've got some more answers here. So again, Bai, thank you for being so brave and putting this out here. Favorite student right now. Robin Blocker says, sorry, Robin. Just give me a second. I need to find which one you are answering. I think it's the first one. Okay, yeah. I'm pretty sure, Robin, that this is the first one. Okay. Thank you for putting this up here, Robin. Okay, and I believe that there's two parts to this, so let me put the other one. And Emily Hugh, thank you so much for putting that in there. I'll look at that in a second. So, what is the most remarkable difference in your country's culture and other countries in the area? Okay. A lot of people say a huge difference between US citizens and Canadians is that Canadians are extremely friendly, like exceedingly warm and kind. Nice. So the spell check is saying this is wrong, but actually this is what a native speaker would say. This is called a fluency marker. This is just something that we add. It's like an or a like. High level native speakers will use this. So even though the grammar is not exactly right, if you do this, it will raise your fluency score. Canadians are extremely friendly, like exceedingly warm and kind. I don't know if that's true or just a stereotype. And of course, the native cultures of Canada aren't the same as the native cultures of the US. And that is undoubtedly has affected the general population lifestyle. Okay. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, the native cultures of Canada aren't the same. Yeah, wow. Nice. I don't have too much to change here. I don't exactly know what you mean by how the native cultures have affected the population's lifestyle. Just because in America, our lifestyle isn't that much affected by the native cultures, but this could also just be my lack of understanding. If you can say exactly what you mean by the general population's lifestyle being affected, I feel like that would make this a little bit stronger, just because I'm not sure exactly what you mean by how it was affected. But this is quite a nice answer. Okay, let me go to Emily. Emily Hugh. Even though it's an online course, Teacher Michael is still humorous. Okay. The grammar there is okay. I do want to point one thing out. When you say this as a sentence, the meaning is that most online courses are not humorous. So your grammar is fine. I just want to make sure that you know that this is what you're saying. This is the same meaning as you. This is implied in your sentence. You think that most online courses have boring teachers. Okay, I like that. Thank you. I hope that's true. Okay, and finally, we've got ABICI. This is the last call for any other people who have their own answers, or if you want me to answer one. You guys have been great so far, but let me answer ABICIs for number 2. All right. Oh man, you chose a hard one. Just like Bai did. So brave. And I believe that there were 2 parts. So let me make sure I got everything here. Okay. So, is it possible to truly understand another culture if you don't speak or know the language? I do think that even if a person doesn't know a foreign language well, they're still able to input local culture knowledge. This is not quite right. Through help from friends and through sense. Is this common sense? Is this through their senses, meaning like their sight and their sense of hearing? In fact, I believe as long as people explore culture by heart, they will eventually know it well. Okay, so your ideas are fine. It's just the vocab that you're using that's a little off. I'm going to change... I won't change the meaning of your answer. I'm just going to use some higher level words that will hopefully fix this up. So I'll copy and paste the first part perfectly. So I do think that even if a person doesn't know a foreign language well, they're still able to gain that cultural knowledge through the help of friends and awareness of what's going on around them. In fact, I believe that as long as people are genuine in their exploration of a culture, they will eventually develop a deep understanding of it. Okay. There's one last thing that I want to change here. I want to add a little bit. Right here, they are still able to gain that cultural knowledge through the help of friends and awareness of what's going around them. One thing that you can strengthen, just like in writing task 2, you guys can give examples to strengthen your arguments. What a lot of people don't realize is that preparing for writing task 2, like brainstorming ideas and constructing arguments, will help your speaking. All the different parts of the writing of the IELTS exam are connected. When you improve your ability to understand a reading, you will improve your ability to express yourself in your writing and your speaking. Same goes with when you improve your ability to express your thoughts logically in writing, it will help your speaking, as long as you notice the connection. If you don't think that there's a connection, and if you study each section of the test separately, you will not be making the connections and you won't see the gains. So I want you guys to make this realization, and when you're studying IELTS reading, IELTS listening, steal stuff from that to help your speaking and your writing. Let's do a little bit of that here by adding a specific example to help out ABICI's answer. So one example of this is when my foreign friend learned how to behave around older people. We respect the elderly quite a lot in our culture, and he quickly learned that he should always give up his seat on the bus or MRT just by looking at how people acted around him, even though he has never learned the language. Okay, so what I've done here is I've added a specific example that shows what I mean. So one example of this, and it's a long example, it takes a little while to say, but the logic is there. I answered the question directly first, and that's always very important. But then after that, I gave a specific example that proves what I was saying, even though he has never learned the language. This is important. He learned this thing about giving up his seat, even though he never learned the language, so this proves what I was saying. He, through the awareness of what was going on around him, he picked up a behavior, and it made him have a deep connection. And then finally, this last thing was perfectly fine. Okay. So I hope you guys found this useful. You guys were fantastic for responding. Again, I'm so sorry that I didn't realize that you guys were speaking. I will always double check in the future. I was really sad and lonely for those first 20 minutes. If you guys have any questions for me about me as an American, cultural stuff, I can't answer specific questions about your school's policies, but I can answer just general questions about culture, the IELTS exam, life as an expat. I'm happy to answer any. And you guys have been so awesome for giving me your answers. Emily, ABACI, Uzal, bye. You guys have been great here. Let's see, Van Tran, nice. Yeah, so many of you guys have done great. Yes. So, Armin, what culture do I like the most? Is this a question for me to just answer? I'm going to answer it like that. Thanks, Armin, for this question. It's really interesting. I did not move to China and then Taiwan specifically because I liked the culture. I moved primarily for money. If we're talking about the media that I like to consume, I would probably say Japanese. I have no interest in moving to Japan. I don't want to move there. But I do really like anime. And I always thought that they had a really beautiful architectural style with their wooden buildings and wooden castles. I think they have a really interesting history that influences their culture. And I just find that fascinating, like the samurai culture and the isolationist policies that they had. I would probably say Japanese culture. If I was talking about food, which is probably the most important thing for me, I would probably say Italy. When I went to Italy, we have a saying, the food was baked with love, or it was cooked with love. You know why your mom's cooking is always the best? Is because you can taste the love that was cooked into the meal. In Italy, it's true. All of their food love is cooked inside their meals. It is amazing. If you ever have the chance, go to Italy and go to some restaurants and eat their food. Oh my goodness, it's the best. By the way, I didn't write down my answer here because I was just answering it as I would a normal person in a conversation. But because this is a YouTube live stream, if you guys want to go back and listen to that again and steal some sentences or ideas or the structure of my answer, feel free. All right. Thanks for that question, Armin. Thank you for caring about me and my life. You guys have been great today. Remember, the next thing that we're doing is on Friday. Phil has a mock exam, so you guys can try to study this vocab that we came up with today and hopefully use it during the mock exam. And then on Saturday, we will be doing a live speaking class, which Phil will lead. All right, guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for stopping by. It was great to see everyone again. It feels like it's been so long. Yeah, have a great rest of your evening, and say hi to Phil for me on Friday. So the next class will be on Friday. Just to point that out again, if we go to the schedule, I'm pretty sure Phil updated this. It will be Friday the 27th. Yes. So Culture will be the mock speaking exam at 8 o'clock Taiwan time, which is up here, and you can compare it to your own city here. All right. So yep, no writing on Wednesday. In fact, there were not too many people watching the writing course. Again, they just don't seem to be popular. I know that you guys, some of you guys really like it, you appreciate it, but every time we do it, it's just not a very popular stream. So we will try again in the future. Of course, we're going to listen to you guys and give you guys what you ask for, but we are kind of constrained by the fact that we need to make things that are popular that YouTube will share with people. So next month we'll definitely have, since this month is almost over, next month we'll definitely have another writing course, but make sure you tell your friends about it and try to get some more people to stop on by. Talking about food is making me hungry. Yeah, I've got some unhealthy KFC that I get to finish after this live stream. Shh, don't tell my girlfriend. Okay. Bye. I hope you enjoy your meal. Raghav, thanks for that question. You guys have been great, and I will see you guys in the future. I'll probably stop by and say hi during Phil's mock exam. So I hope to see you guys there. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.